Okay. So I want to show you this. This is what happens. This is literally what happens when you start messing with the Mexican cartels. I wanted to see this a while ago or so, but I completely forgot about it. But it was from Sunny V2, and he did a video or so literally talking about, I know these two TikTokers that are on the thumbnail. I know these specific two or so because they popped up previously, like a long time ago or so, when I was watching some videos or so, right, in the past. And I'm gonna be honest with you, meshing with the cartels is definitely not the right move in any situation.
These social media morons.
So imagine, right? Imagine if Johnny Shamali decided to go to Mexico, and decided to do the shit that he's doing in Korea in Mexico.
Publicly insulted Mexican cartels, with El Pirata setting the scene for why this is a dumb idea. Born April 2000 in the state of Sinaloa, the pirate was from one of Mexico's most dangerous states. Both his mother and father left him at birth, leading
Oh yeah, no, 100%.
to a difficult life full of alcohol addiction. Although
I know this guy, so he's a young kid, right? Let me give you a little bit of backstory because I know he's going to talk about it, but let me give you the short term of it. It's a kid or so, right, that drinks a lot of alcohol at a young age. So he drinks a lot of fucking alcohol. And TLDR, right? He literally said fuck the cartels and all this other shit in Spanish or so when he was drunk and everything like that. So, yeah, that's basically is what he did.
Ironically, this made him a social media superstar. El Pirata had his friend film him drinking from a bottle, pairing it with the aftermath of when it all kicked in. He'd uploaded to his YouTube under El Della Red Label, but didn't expect a viewership of over 300,000. Well, when he realized that his excesses were pleasing to the internet, he knew what his shortcut to popularity was, turning his drunkenness into a profession. He'd start posting video after video of his drinking escapades.
Look at him fucking drinking,
the beverage
dude.
about an inch above his mouth, in the exact same way as his first viral video. This, in combination with his small, strange appearance, made El Pirata so extremely memorable, people began to dedicate public statues to him. He'd therefore expand his social media to include cars and women, which grew his Facebook following to over 1 million and his Instagram to 300,000. Suddenly, he was being paid over $1,000 just to show up at a club for a night.
Honestly, doing the most dumbest things to be popular so apparently pays off. Apparently someone paid $1,000 for this guy to show up. That's it. $1,000 just to show up. Just because he fucking drank alcohol from a bottle. Man, you guys sure find the most tiny, the most what's the word? Most mundane thing, being the most entertaining thing in the entire world and turn someone famous, I guess.
Although this would always come with one specific problem. Every time El Pirata drank, he'd become extremely vocal and borderline aggressive, to the extent that he was arrested on more than one occasion.
So this is the kind of wrong drunkenness or so, right? There was one time I was tipsy, but I was a more loving type of person as tipsy compared to some other people who are aggressive when they're drunk or tipsy.
In a 7.6 million view video, translating to the pirate responds to comments, he spends over 3 minutes simply yelling at his audience, giving the impression that he thought himself invincible. This would be curbed to some extent when he'd hire a social media manager named Beto Sierra, who encouraged El Pirata to give up the drinking to increase the longevity of his life and career. Spanish YouTuber Pepe Garza also confronted El Pirata about his drinking, questioning, haven't you started to think that if you drink a lot of alcohol, at one point it can poison you? The human body isn't made for that. To which El Pirata responded immaturely, people always tell me, my friend, how can you handle so much? I just laugh and tell them, well, I don't know. I don't know how I handle so much. To which Pepe again responds, well, I don't like it very much. This is going to get out of control. When he's then asked, where do you see yourself in 3 years' time, El Pirata admits that he wants to get sober and instead would like to have a career in music and leave behind this stage characterized by his drunkenness. I want to learn to sing now. That will be my motto. I want to be on stage, but singing and putting on a show. Taking steps to make this happen, he'd appear in music videos, which only further added to his image as a drinker, especially with a band member stating, there are a lot of people who criticize him, but the truth is that's why El Pirata got started, but it would also become the way.
Oh, jeez. I kind of want to see Tipsy Sunako now. There's only one alcohol I would drink though. It's the Korean drinker. So I wanted to buy some before my anniversary, but oh well. It was too expensive. It's very fucking expensive because it's really hard to get it now these days because they don't sell it anymore here.
Way that El Pirata ended. After yet another
here we go. Here it is. Here it is. This is it.
Was filmed
this is the clip.
Mexican cartels, specifically with the phrase El Mencho suck my wiener. El Mencho is the head of the CJNG, aka Mexico's second most powerful cartel. His capture offers a bounty of $10 million.
God damn, $10 million for his capture? Holy shit, dude. That's a lot of money.
As he's considered one of Mexico's most dangerous people. Therefore, El Pirata's callout was not a smart thing to say about a man who'll execute your whole family based on not much more than a rumor. He just has zero regard for human life. But what about free speech? It doesn't exist to the cartels, which have been linked to the murder of at least 12 journalists this past year.
Yeah, if you didn't notice, there's 12 journalists actually died over there. You know, kind of like doing their free speech, you know, type of thing.
El Pirata seemed to think very little of his call-out, as on the 18th of December 2017, he went about his day as if it were any other. As the evening drew closer, El Pirata met with Hot Spanish Vlogs and Ben El Gringo, preparing for what was supposed to be another fun night on the town. In fact, El Pirata was having such a good time, he'd post the location of where he was headed, telling him,
really? You posted where you were going? Oh, jeez.
His fans to meet him at the bar. However, instead, he'd be met by 4 men driving in a black truck who assassinated El Pirata only a minute after getting to the bar. The attack was clearly specifically targeted because, as explained by Hot Spanish Vlogs, it's clear they didn't want to hurt me, my friend, or any of the girls, because if they wanted to, they could have done so easily.
Yeah.
His funeral was held in the days that followed, with El Pirata's social media manager writing, we talk so many times about quitting alcohol and living life too fast, but you never listened. And I don't judge, only you knew what you were doing. Those who knew you were a good person. God have you in his glory. Those responsible for his death have never been apprehended, but the CJN...
Come on, man. We already know who it is. We already know who it is.
G only seems more obvious after exploring the fate of TikToker El Chinito. El Pirata and El Chinito lived in the same city, both having become famous for their goofy vertical videos. El Chinito therefore felt hurt by El Pirata's death, and just 17 days after, would call out the cartel as well. In the 31 second video, El Chinito states, I don't give a crap about El Mencho, then proceeds to call him stupid and threatens to drive to his city to find him. In case this wasn't dumb enough, El Chinito then announces where he lives, but it would only be after the call out went viral that El Chinito realized he'd made a huge mistake. The following morning, with a blistering hangover, El Chinito apologized. Excuse me, El Mencho, I was very drunk and wasn't in my senses. I am sorry. My respect to the old man, subsequently disappearing to keep a low profile. Rumors began to circulate that El Chinito had been executed by hired assassins, but this would be disproven by Margarito Music. He'd find El Chinito in his hometown, who instead of dying had rather gotten married, and also had a baby on the way. He now uses his TikTok to document his life, clearly surviving his cartel call-out. I think the apology video saved this guy's life. Illuminati 6, however, wasn't quite so lucky. He gained a following by doing dares on TikTok Live, one of which being
I saw this one too as well. Yeah. Honestly, like, it doesn't, like, if I remember correctly, I don't know if this is the guy or so, but there was specific one TikToker. I don't know if this specific one is the one or so, but he lives in the US or so, right? And he literally called out I think it's the same cartel people, the CJNGs, CJings, CJNGs, CJings. I don't know where their names are, but he completely called them out, right? And I think like the next day afterwards or something like that, he made an apology video after that. So I
ready to
think
challenge El Mencho. Well, Illuminati 6 had zero hesitation. Listen here, you son of a bitch. El Mencho, you can suck my wiener 100%. I don't sleep like El Pirata or El Chinito. I'm immortal, untouchable. I made a pact with the devil. I came to give you fire, Mencho. I'm not scared to say this, I'll say it without the camera. Mencho can suck my balls. The comments rolled in instantly. This man is already dead, just because they haven't warned him. This little boy has his days numbered. Not even the devil is going to save him. Illuminati 6 quickly realized his mistake and uploaded a second video begging for forgiveness. I'm sorry for what I said. I was not well. I was wrong. That day I woke up stupid. I didn't look at the consequences.
I woke up stupid, chat. That's my excuse, apparently. Yeah, I just woke up stupid or so, and I decided to call out the fucking leader of the CJNG. Yeah. It makes total sense, you know. I mean, I just woke up being stupid, you know.
I did that for followers. I apologize, we all make mistakes. Mencho, don't kill me, I have a family just like you, but this only added more exposure to his original cartel callout. People began to joke, play the video of how they kill him, it would be great to see, but I don't think anybody expected that this would actually happen. It has since been theorized that the person in the video is someone else completely, but there's absolutely no confusion in the case of Fofo Marquez.
Could be someone different, who knows?
He's best described as
Dude, this guy is literally like, if I had to do a comparison, right, as like for like the American side of like a content creator, right? He's basically almost in the same ballpark, almost territory as Jack Doherty, basically. He's basically just like that.
as the Mexican Dan Bilzerian, although without so many women. His TikTok is dedicated to bragging about money, showing his private jets and driving luxury cars. But Fofo also hides the fact that he's from a mega wealthy family. In case being a nepo baby isn't already unlikable enough, he refers to himself as millionaire boy, making what would happen
if I own businesses and stuff like that and I become a quote unquote millionaire, quote unquote, right? From like the businesses that I want to open up in the future, right? My kid is still gonna learn the value of a fucking dollar at the end of the day. I'd be like, you're not getting, you think I'm gonna fucking give you shit just because we're rich? No, I fucking worked my ass off. So,
happen next, all
you're gonna have to learn to make your money here. So
the more satisfying. Fofo planned on doing a prank that would anger his whole city. Drive 3 luxury cars onto a main bridge.
This is what he did. He put 3 fucking cars on a like freeway, highway bridge thing, got outside, started recording on his fucking phone, and literally blocked all of the cars in the back in traffic or so.
Before parking in the middle of the road to block all lanes of traffic. As he and his friends get out of the cars, Fofo proceeds to state, "We have closed it for ourselves. This is what I want to demonstrate, what money and power can do. We've been here for several minutes. Let's do some TikTok dances. Look, this right here is power. I am the king of Mexico." Fofo put it on his TikTok expecting a positive response, and while it gained 10 million views in under 24 hours, its virality was due to all the wrong reasons. Thank
Yeah.
you, Fofo. You are an example for me. It is an inspiration to study and never be like you, but his terrible prank reached further than social media. Mayor Pablo Lemus threatened to bring charges against him for blocking traffic and endangering drivers on the road. After the rebuke, Marquez went back to social media to publicly apologize. It stated in his apology, "My comments about money and power were perhaps stupid, and I'll happily pay whatever fine I'm given." But the mayor responded to the apology by saying Marquez would have to complete community service, cleaning up below the very bridge he shut down, which Fofo Marquez was more than happy to do until the CJNG got involved. The cartel unexpectedly issued a public statement. As many
CJ Ing. Okay, that's how you pronounce it. Okay.
you know or are just learning about, the influencer or scum named Rodolfo Marquez, who dared to close traffic, is an act we do not tolerate. We're the ones in charge of Jalisco and all of Mexico, and to you, Fofo, we tell you to be careful, because we will not let you come thinking you can do whatever you want. Here in Jalisco, Mr. Mencho is in charge. If we see you again, we'll kidnap you, and not even the money you have will help you. Sincerely, CJNG. 6 days later,
So let me give you a little bit of backstory. So for some of these, at least for some of the cartels, it's not for every single cartel, because I don't know how every single one works, right? The one that I visit or so on my dad's side or so, right? It's a pueblo, right? It's a pueblo that I visited or so. So before it was a dangerous area, but since I don't know which cartel owns it, but a certain cartel group owns the area, and they started cleaning up the area because the police can't do it, right? Because it's so far away from like the main city, right? It's like in the countryside, right? Because it's a pueblo, right? And they basically cleaned up the area where all like gangbangers and like cholos and whatnot, and they completely like completely off them off, and it's a lot safer now. It is a lot safer. So like at the end of the day, right? It's not like they're doing it for like not a lot of them are doing them for like bad purposes, right? They do really care about their area, right? They're like their little pueblo, their hometown, their section, their zone or whatnot, however you want to call it or so specific. Like they do truly care, So they do the cleanup as well of all the bad people, right? The gangbangers and all the other people who do bad shit or so. They actually are the ones who clean up their specific zone, but not all of them, right? Not all of them, right? I'm not saying like every single one of them does it. I don't really know all of the cartels at the end of the day, because I know there's some cartels. Some cartels are formed to try to kill off another cartel, which is from what I know, right? From certain stuff that I've read or so, and just doing research and stuff like that. So there are like, I guess you could say like they're not all bad, but like at the end of the day, right? They're not really like, I wouldn't say like they're 100% good or anything like that, right? They're kind of like anti-heroes at the end of the day, right? They do good things, but then they also do bad things, So it's just kind of like, it's kind of like basically pick your poison, Do you want the whole place to be like an entire shitty place, or do you want it to be a pretty decent place, but then you just gotta watch out or so not to go on the bad side for the cartels, and that's pretty much about it. So, hey Archie.
YouTuber Dominguero met up with Fofo, who was hiding out in his parents' mansion and being protected by 30 security guards. Throughout the interview, Fofo states, "Rich people are the most intelligent people, only making him even more hated. Rich people are the smartest people," said by a kid who inherited more than half of what he has.
Yeah, that's always a dumb thing or so. Like he inherited money from his parents. I'm like, that doesn't make you smart whatsoever. That just means you got really lucky. You spawned in a really lucky family or so, who is super rich as fuck, right? And you can have whatever the fuck you want,
Despite Fofo's extreme arrogance, the CJNG never wound up hurting him. However, just 6 months ago, he brutally beat a woman during a traffic conflict in the parking lot of a shopping center.
Oh my god, dude, you actually this shit just literally writes itself, to be honest. This honestly this on I was just saying, it was like there's no way, kid, it's like come on, man. Like okay, I think he finally cooled down. I think they just kind of threatened him or so he can finally like get back to order or so, but no. No, he decided okay.
As a result, he's currently in prison, but that's still a better outcome than what happened to Pamela Montenegro. She played a character on YouTube named Nana Pelucas, initially posting innocent videos where
Yeah, I've heard about this one too as well, actually.
for example, she'd interview random shoppers. However, her content slowly made a political shift, interviewing government officials about the problems created by Mexico's cartels.
Yikes, dude. Like why did you bother changing to politicalness after like making content or so of just interviewing people, in shopping malls and stuff like that?
Well, Pamela also owned a restaurant named A Todos Los Santos, around which the cartel began hanging banners, accusing Pamela
Let me see if I can read this or so. Cuidadaña de este hermoso or hermosa. ¿Cómo se podrán dar cuenta la It's kind of hard to read it. Y esto no es obra de el Is that a G? I can't tell what that is. Is that a 6 or a G? Gobierno? Oh, gobierno. Okay. That's a G. Looks like a 6, that's why. I can't tell what that says. De la coordinación y respeto de una sola unidad llamada los amigos. A todos los gentes de José Ángel Palacios something Capuchino y con Oscar Aguilar y Oh, it's finally done. My fucking download or so. Aguilera y el virus tienen 24 horas para alinearse. What? Alinearse or correr. Oh, okay. So they're basically saying you have 24 hours or so to straighten up or run away, basically. So they're basically threatening them.
Of colluding with the government. Incredibly, even after this, she continued making her videos and working at the restaurant, although as you might expect, it didn't end well.
Of course.
During one of her shifts in the evening, 2 men walked in and each ordered a beer before shooting Pamela point blank and fleeing the scene immediately. When security officers arrived at the scene after 7 p.m., the 36-year-old woman had already died. A member of the Acapulco cartel was tried for her murder, but was dismissed on the grounds of insufficient evidence, ironically acting as an example of the political corruption she often discussed. In Mexico, you can't even make fun of politics without being murdered now. She was really funny. This is horrible.
Yeah, but the problem is like she was doing like normal content and then she drifted into talking to political stuff, I don't know. Yeah, all she did was paint herself a target on her back. How many people she exposed was sent to prison thanks to her cartel trolling. It's one of the most dumbest things you can do in a country ruled by organized crime. She committed suicide for nothing. That's how to be dumb 101. Yeah, that's the problem or so. It's like you live in a country or so where, the cartel holds the most power in the country. So doing something like this is completely stupid and idiotic, There's no way around it, I'm like, if she would have just continued just doing her normal content, she just would have been fine, you know, instead of going into, you know, instead of just going into the normal, you know, instead of going into the whole political shit. So, yeah, so this is basically this is what happens basically if Johnny Somali would go over to you know, sorry about that. You know, this would happen or so if Johnny Somali would go to Mexico, you know, and did his antics the way how he's doing it or so. This is basically is what's gonna happen to him, 100%. So, but yeah, anyways, I just kind of wanted to talk about this specifically, you know. So, it's kind of very interesting to kind of take a look at some of these things. So, but yeah, anyways, that's the end of the video. You can comment, like, subscribe, do all that fancy jazzy stuff, and yeah, and peace.